We were doing routine maintenance at one of the properties we fully manage here in Cuenca when a lady approached us and asked a pretty simple question. Are you living here? We told her, no, we are the property managers. She looked relieved for about half a second. Then she said something that made my stomach drop. She told us that she wanted to speak with us because we had her deposit for the apartment. At first, she thought maybe she paid a different agent. But here's the problem. We have full exclusive management of this property. No other agents, no sub-agents, no one else with access. And in that moment, the penny dropped for her. She had paid a deposit to a complete stranger for an apartment that she had never seen. That person had already disappeared. Seeing the disappointment on her face when she realized that she'd been scammed was honestly quite nasty. And the worst part? This was the second person scammed using this exact same apartment within a few months. So today, I want to walk you through exactly how this rental scam works, why it's so effective, especially on people new to Cuenca, and how to make sure you never fall for it. Because if something seems too good to be true, it usually is. Vamos! This is the first video I've produced in many months. We've moved house again. Kids have started a different school and our property business has grown a lot. This is in part thanks to my spouse, Michelle, joining YapaTree full-time and several new team members joining too. It has been quite the ride. I do want to take this time to thank all of our clients, whether you're a tenant, buyer, landlord, or seller, or just even one of our trusted agent partners. We've truly appreciated working together in 2025 and cannot wait to hit the ground running in 2026. But enough positivity, back to the scam. So this scam almost always follows the same predictable pattern. And once you know it, it does become painfully obvious. Step 1, stolen photos. The scammer will steal photos from a real apartment in Cuenca, and often it is a nice one, good lighting, modern apartment, well located, and they usually know just enough details about the property, so the neighborhood, the building name, maybe even the floor, to sound convincing. But they don't own it, they don't manage it, and they definitely do not have access to it. The second step is that they publish it on low quality platforms. They list the apartment on platforms that have just very low quality control. The most common one we see here is Facebook Marketplace. Anyone can post and then anyone can just disappear. There is no real verification, zero accountability, and no consequences for the scammer. And the third step is generally using price as the hook. This is the biggest red flag that you need to look out for because the rent is usually way below market value. Sometimes it's even half the normal price, sometimes even less. And so this is where the emotion starts to kick in. You're thinking, wow, I found this awesome apartment. I need to move fast. I certainly don't want to miss this. But this urgency is exactly what they're counting on. And the fourth step is going to be no viewing ever. Now, this is for pretty obvious reasons. They don't have access. But when you go to ask to see the apartment, things will start to get a little bit weird. They'll say stuff like they're just too busy today, they're out of town, or the current tenant hasn't moved out yet, or perhaps they'll agree to the viewing and then cancel at the last minute due to an emergency. Because of course they obviously cannot access the property. And the fifth step is where they start to ratchet the pressure and the competition a little bit. So they'll tell you something like, I have other people interested, someone else is ready to pay. If you want to secure it, I need the deposit today. And suddenly you're not deciding, you're reacting. And the last step is you pay the deposit and the scammer basically just disappears. You send the deposit to whichever method they arrange, and then that's it. Poof, the messages stop, your calls will go unanswered, the listing will disappear, and of course, your money is gone. And so why is this such an issue? Obviously, no one likes to be scammed, But this story I opened with wasn't an isolated incident. A few months earlier, we received a call from a building administrator. They said that there was a tenant downstairs with their bags. They were all packed, ready to move in, and we were completely confused because, again, we're the only people authorized to rent that apartment, literally the only one with access, and so that person had also paid a deposit to a scammer. And just recently, today actually, one of our landlords asked me if I'd seen an apartment in their building advertised way below market value. I hadn't seen the listing, but knowing the price and knowing what the fair market value is for that property, I am very confident that it's the same scam happening again. Same playbook, different victim. So how do you avoid this? Well, here are my non-negotiables. First, never pay a deposit without viewing the property. I do not care how good the deal looks. If you haven't physically been inside the apartment, don't pay. Full stop. Secondly, do be very suspicious of below market prices. Yes, great deals certainly exist, but absurd deals usually don't. If something is dramatically cheaper than everything else you're seeing, stop and ask why. And thirdly, this comes down to trust. So really verify who you're dealing with. Ask the person, are they the owner? Are they the exclusive agent? Can they prove authorization? Real agents aren't going to be offended by these questions, but scammers will often avoid them. And so my number one tip here is just always trust your gut. If your spidey sense starts tingling, walk away. And fourthly, just be careful where you're searching. Like, platforms with no moderation are fertile ground for scams. Now, that doesn't mean that everything on Facebook Marketplace is fake, but it does mean that you need to be extra cautious. And I'll leave you with a few final thoughts. For me, what makes this scam particularly cruel is that it often targets people who are either new to Cuenca or maybe under time pressure, people moving countries, people that are emotionally invested in starting fresh. And now losing a deposit here and starting the rental search over can be devastating. Not just the financial side, but the emotional turmoil that can result from being a scam victim. So if you're renting in Cuenca or helping someone who is, please share this video with them. It might save them a lot of money and a very unpleasant lesson. And if you want help finding legitimate rentals with proper access, proper contracts, and zero surprises, you know where to find us. I'll see you in the next one.